All right, we are live. All right, welcome everyone. This is uh, Black Cannabis Talk, episode 222. We've got a new strain review for you guys. We've also got some news items. We've kind of been on a brief hiatus, but we are back, so kind of catch you up to speed on a few things going on. We've got Noah in the house. What's going on, man?
I'm doing good. It's a late evening stream, so
Yeah,
let's get
yeah.
to start, hopefully.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see here. I'm going to pull up the first item on the docket here. We're going to do a review because I got my hands on some of this here. And I said, man, got to do a review on it. I want to say we did a review previously, but, it had been maybe like a year plus since the
Yeah,
last
it was a
time I
long
actually.
time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So let's circle back around. All right. Can everybody see that?
Yep.
All right. Durban poison. What is Durban poison, you ask? This pure sativa originates from the South African port city of Durban. It has gained popularity worldwide for its sweet smell and energetic, uplifting effects. Durban poison is the perfect strain to help you stay productive through a busy day when exploring the outdoors or to lend a spark of creativity. Growers and concentrate enthusiasts will both enjoy the oversized resin glands, which make this strain a quality choice for concentrate extraction. The buds are round and chunky and leave a thick coating of trichomes on almost all areas of the plant. And just to show you guys, that is, or wait, actually, I have a bigger pic right there. That is what the plant, the Durban poison plant looks like. Classic sativa profile. The difference between sativas and indicas. Sativas have the real thin fan leaves. Indicas have the fat ones, the kind of like the short fat ones, and these have the long drawn out ones, and that largely just has to do with the growing environment. Uh, you know, sativas are typically going to be equatorial, right? So even around that area of South Africa, all the way on through like say like Mexico and all this type of Mediterranean and tropical climates. That's largely where sativas are going to be prevalent. Also in like dense jungle areas too. That's where you'll find stuff like chocolate Thai type strains, which are actually what's called a ruderalis, which is a hermaphroditic variant. So you have sativas, indicas, and then you also have um, ruderalis. Another similar strain would be hemp. Hemp is kind of semi. Um, uh, we can say gender neutral if you want to use the PC terms for all this stuff. But yeah, this is the profile of a classic sativa, and that's what Durban poison is. Now, in terms of the effects, this is why I like it because it is very much a like a pick you up, or not even like a pick you up. I mean, it could be a pick you up. It can also be a kind of like I said, like a kind of just like a put you in a put your head in a right space to be productive or to be creative. To basically, it kind of puts you in a mode to use your mind. So this is why I really like this strain here. Now, in terms of the terpenes, let's see here. There we go. So it's definitely going to be the alpha pinene and the beta male pinene, and the limonene. So these two terpenes are what's most prevalent in this strain here. So very much a kind of like a herbal, like pine, dill, parsley, basil, rosemary. Definitely has like kind of like a piney slash citrusy type of smell. And even just looking at the plant, it actually the look, it has the look that it would have those type of terpene profiles. But this is oops, oh, wrong one. This is very much the terpene profile for it, and very much the effects that you would get: alertness, euphoria, creativity, memory retention. Like I said, it's kind of like it's funny. I was just talking with random woman about organization. So that's kind of like organize. It's the mind organized, so like things can kind of flow freely through your mind. And in order to do that, you need to have sort of like an elevated mood and a relief of stress. So this is very much the characteristics and the qualities of Durban.
How potent is the smell of this one? Some
Um,
have more potent smells than
yeah,
others.
yeah. This one's not. This one's not. It's really because this has a very the region that this comes from. Um, you know, in drier environments. Let me pull the image back up. In drier environments, these plants don't tend to be like smell heavy, but they tend to be they tend to be resin heavy. That's why the characteristic of it was noting that like the trichomes are like very much pronounced. Like this thing gets real, like if you touch it and then your fingers will like stick together. Like that's how like resinous it is, you know. But like the smell is not like it's when you have these type of you know kind of like a pine, that's very much it fits kind of within like the nature smells, right? So you don't really pick it up too much, and it's kind of like the same thing when you burn this stuff. It's not smell heavy really. It really isn't. You smoke this more for effect. This isn't really like a taste or smell heavy type of flower. But yeah, that's what I would kind of the profile I would give it here. And where did I crap? I had the chakra chart up somewhere. Oh crap. Well, I would say this. If you well, let me just pull one up. I'll Google one right now. Are there any questions or anything over in the chat or anything?
No questions, I
No
see.
questions. Okay. You have to pardon me, folks. If I start sneezing, like just call me a sneezer. All right, let's pull this one up right here. I found this other one, man, because it also kind of gave like crystal, like what crystals correspond to the chakras. It was pretty cool actually. But this one is definitely definitely a crown and third eye. It's definitely
More mind based.
yeah. It deals straight up with the headspace, man. It's not you're not getting any effects down here. This is all up here. Yep. This is why it's one of my favorites, man. Like, I like the medical application of the stuff, me personally. And, I'm able, well, not able, but, just from me using it for the time that I have, I've kind of figured out like how this stuff helps you, So you got to understand how to assess the plant and then know how it's going to work with you. So, as far as my rating, nine out of 10, man, easy. Easy. I always like, when I got some Durban, man, I always enjoy it.
All right, sweet.
Yeah.
And we have Mike here too. Hey, how's it going, Mike?
Uh-oh.
Hey, what's going on, dudes?
Mike V, what's going on, G?
I'm chilling, man. Just had to drop in for a quick sec.
That's what's up, man. I saw a peep game over on Loadcast, man. You dropping the IT game heavy, dude. You want to give us a quick update on that?
On which part?
Just the overall nature of the discussion.
Oh, it was just an interesting discussion. It was kind of all over the place, but basically talking about creating a black social media platform that encompasses all of the many other micro, medium, and macro forms of social media into one platform. So
Okay, yeah, because I was in and out on that discussion, but I was following along, and yeah, some of the stuff that you were discussing, man, was quite interesting.
yeah, I mean, a lot can be done with cloud computing and other shared resources, but trying to do it on your own can be a bit challenging. You know, you don't want to spend $100,000 on a server only to find out that you can't recoup the return on investment up front or at the tail end of it, because servers appreciate, and if you don't have a high ROI, then you're gonna be in a negative in the red. So
Right. All right.
yeah, piece of
Well,
the chat.
yeah. Peace to everyone in the chat room. I'm gonna try to get on over there after I stop the screen share here. Now I'm gonna go ahead and attempt to read, but if I start a little sneeze attack here, Noah's gonna jump in.
No way.
All right. So let's just kind of tail off of a review of a classic South African strain of weed, and we're going to go into emerging markets, African countries exporting marijuana. So, and this, you guys will note, it kind of falls in line with a large portion of what it is that we discuss. Just Africa is the continent itself being an entire emerging market, no matter like what we're talking about. So this is from Kylie Kyungyu. African governments are considering ways of tapping into the lucrative marijuana market. According to a UN survey, more than 10,000 tons of cannabis are produced on the continent each year, which could be worth billions of dollars in a rapidly expanding global market for legal cannabis. Although African governments have not yet followed the trend of marijuana legislation seen in Europe and the Americas, legitimate marijuana production for medicinal and industrial use is taking off. For instance, Lesotho is the continent's first country to offer legal licenses to grow marijuana, signaling a shift towards more liberal policies. And we have covered that in previous cannabis hangouts, Lesotho being like the first nation on the continent to legalize. The market for legal marijuana is set to be worth around $146 billion a year by 2025. Medicinal marijuana is set to make up more than 2/3 of that, according to consultants Grandview Research. From Uganda to Zimbabwe, there is a growing interest in cashing in on this valuable crop. Now, Uganda, it's still illegal to use marijuana recreationally in Uganda, but the government is the latest African country to claim a stake in the lucrative business and generate revenue. It has landed deals to export medical marijuana products to Canada and Germany to the tune of $160 million in June of this year, and we did cover that on the last Cannabis Hangout. We went into detail about that. In partnership with an Israeli company called Together Pharma Limited, a director at Industrial Hemp Uganda Limited, Benjamin Cadet, confirmed that they have received orders from about 20,000 pharmaceutical companies in Germany and Canada. The Daily Monitor reported. We signed annual supply contracts with pharmacies in Canada to the tune of 100 million and 58 million, was that shekels, I think that is? Yeah, for Germany. The current contracts run for 10 years, but along the way...
Those are shillings.
Shillings, I'm sorry, yeah. The current contracts run for 10 years, but along the way, we shall expand to satisfy future demand, Cadet said in a statement announcing the development. So this is, you're literally just talking about what so the 160 million is just sort of like a base point. So there's a whole lot of opportunity, right, for that to become a whole lot more. So just so you kind of understand how they're structuring these deals. In several parts of the world, marijuana is being used medicinally to alleviate suffering from several illnesses. People are using morphine, the main component of opium, as an analgesic for cancer pain. Opium is an opioid and is more addictive and has more severe side effects. Cannabidiol, CBD, from medical marijuana is the best option for such patients. Now, I'll go ahead and just skip down to Zimbabwe here. Zimbabwe became the first became one of the first African countries to legalize the production of marijuana for scientific and medicinal use. Citizens can now apply for a license to cultivate marijuana. This renewable license permits companies and individuals to produce marijuana for 5 years. See, so Zimbabwe, now I think we covered that one back on Business Wealth Power, right?
Yeah, about a year ago on Zimbabwe's when they were first starting it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Zimbabwe, I think they were like right behind Lesotho, and they've pretty much kind of have their established, policies in place, and that's essentially what it is right there. So they're, open for business. Morocco. This North African country is not only best known for hashish, but is also second only to Afghanistan as a producer of the substance, according to the UN Office on Drug and Crime. According to the media company Bloomberg, the trade employs at least 800,000 people and is worth $10 billion a year in sales. Despite these figures, the country has failed to legalize marijuana after a bill was proposed to legalize marijuana production for medicinal and industrial use. How the hell you have $10 billion in sales, yet you still can't legalize the shit? Dude, $10 billion a year. That's a lot. That you know how much that is?
Yeah, that's a lot of money. I'm guessing they're not getting that in tax revenue either.
No, I don't think so. Hash pressing, consumption of the drug, and sales are still illegal, but unofficially, these activities have made the North African region one of the largest exporters of the cash crop hashish, and that's largely because it leaves there and goes to Europe. Right. So like
Definitely.
Yeah, the old school term for it was called el culero. Anybody know Spanish? That means it's bud hash. Because what they do is they'd roll it up in the shape of an egg, and so the dudes who were smuggling it put it up their ass, and that's the story behind it, dude. That's why it's called el culero. It goes right like from Morocco into Spain. That's what it is. Yeah.
Oh man.
All right, Malawi. I think we also covered Malawi back on Business Wealth Power. Malawi is well known for the prevalence and quality of marijuana production within its borders, especially the sought-after Malawi Gold strain. I'd like to try that. According to CNN, in 2018, the Malawian government was cultivating hemp on a trial basis ahead of potential legislation of the non-psychoactive cannabis strain for industrial use, for example, as fabric and in food products. This represents a major development after a lengthy battle with drug control groups and religious leaders that fiercely opposed any softening of the policy. I think on the first hangout that we did, starting this back up, there was some, man, I think we touched on like the religious aspects of it. Like the shit's all in religion. I don't understand what the problem is.
No, there's still a lot of social stigma to it. It'll take some time to,
Even though it was like, it wasn't like shunned upon in religious text or anything like that. That's what that's what I don't understand. Like, how you guys like understanding this shit? Like, how are you interpreting this? Like it was a wholly annoying.
Very long.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, both advocates and critics of legalizing hemp have suggested that marijuana could be next. Oh yeah, they're suggesting it. All right. Lesotho. Lesotho is a mountainous country with a climate that is exceptionally well suited to growing high quality cannabis for medicinal markets. That's what I'm talking about. In 2017, Lesotho became the first African country to legalize the cultivation of marijuana for medicinal purposes, spawning a new sector in a country where the economy struggles to create employment opportunities, according to the BBC. But small-scale farmers may find themselves unable to cash in as they cannot afford the infrastructure. Mike V, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
You hear that? and licensing costs that the legal trade requires. The African Cannabis Report shows that the African legal cannabis market could top 7.1 billion by 2023. Okay, that's about 3.5 years off, right? We're talking about the legal cannabis market in Africa, $7.1 billion by 2023. If key markets legalize medical and recreational cannabis. Lesotho, as a regional first mover, is set to play a crucial role in servicing and supplying the African market. We want to be known internationally as the best cultivator of medical grade cannabis anywhere in the world. See, God damn it. This is what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about right there. Right? You're why can't like nations like melanated people be like global leaders and some shit? I mean, that's that if I'm the leader of a country, or if I'm like, the person, involved with that in that country, man, I'm the country's leader, and that's how my agriculture minister is talking. Good. We are proud of becoming the first African nation to produce cannabis legally, and we can only see this improving the lives and the health of the people of our great country. So,
Right. Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
They're gonna be bringing a lot of money.
Your take, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, obviously this is good. Any news like this is good news. So the infrastructure piece doesn't just stop at the growth aspect of it, but also in the science and scientific research aspect of it, because
Yep.
now you need facilities to actually do the research on different strains and medicinal purposes of it. So you're talking about small things like shipping containers where you can convert them over into laboratories for cheap money on the dollar. So
Yeah, right. I mean, you have these,
Right.
these high-tech facilities, right? Turnkey high-tech facilities that are placed on these little small-scale farms, right? See, that's the kind of like when they talk about, you know, so okay, this circles back to the infrastructure discussions that we always have, right? And then you say, okay, well, what would you implement? How do how do we go from point A to point B, and then like how does it become something where there's some sort of return on it? How do we get investment for it and all of that? Well, see, if you have things, and so here we go, business modeling. So for anybody who says, well, does the brain trust ever come up with solutions? We're about to throw $1 million fucking brain business idea out here, right? So if you're paying attention, just listen. So you take what Mike just said and you put it on those small scale farms, right? Maybe like 2 containers, right? One container does, like you said, lab testing equipment and all that type of stuff. The other container may do like, uh, you know, um, environment controlled packaging and all that type of stuff to reduce the risk of any sort of contamination or anything like that. Okay, see, so now you've gone from not only just farming, okay, but with something as simple as like a shipping container converted into a lab and converted into a packing facility, right? These are low cost facilities that you can then put there. Now what you've done is you've gone from cultivation and production to the lab testing and verification, onto the packaging, export out. And this is how you add infrastructure to these small farms, and you partner up with them. You be the people who come in and provides like the tech solution to this, that enable them to build the ability to go from cultivating, because that's largely what they have to focus on, right? So the infrastructure piece is what Mike just said, but let's put it in a business model, right? Because
Right.
they just said that the countries themselves have already legalized. So it's not as if legislation isn't in place already.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. There's two things to that. One is I don't know if there's a particular name for it. Maybe it's called like industry drift or something like that. I'm not quite sure. Where advancements in one industry, like let's say they're able to do better packaging or better processing or better systems in the cannabis industry in a particular African country, that will transfer over into other commodities or other industries. They can just take that model and repurpose it with a new goal in mind. Right.
Yep.
And the second piece is that I remember we were talking about this last year, maybe 18 months ago, that Africa is going to be the next big market, right? And if you look at Uganda, it's not even legal there, but they're still exporting it.
They already made the deals, dude, and it's not even legal. It's like, how the hell did you even do that?
Right. If you're caught with it in the country, there are consequences for it. But if they're going to export it, they're allowing it because they're making money off it. So
yeah,
that's just what it is. And there's not the only country. There's the only ones they mentioned in here, but there are some others that are making moves in it as well. Kenya, Ghana,
South Africa, it's legal there.
Right.
They've got whatchamacallit, they got shops there, man, cafe shops.
Right.
Like in
and
Johannesburg.
With the Africa Free Trade Agreement, there could be inter country movement of cannabis as well. From Benin to Botswana or Zimbabwe to Lesotho. So that's already another market as well. But there are actually a couple of questions in here that I wanted to get to.
Okay, yeah, let's
have some for you.
Okay.
The first one is CR Frank. He says, anyone been to Himalayas? You saw a video with wild marijuana plants all over the place. I think there's just a lot of places in the world, especially in a lot of African countries. They just grow wild. So there are a lot of strains that haven't been cataloged. We don't know what kind of properties they may or may not have. But I don't know if you want to speak to that.
Yeah, no, like land race. I mean, that's the other thing too, right? So that's the other reason why, you have companies that want to get into Africa and really comb the plains and the hillsides and all these areas to try to find all these different land race strains that have different characteristics. See, because land
what was that, Mike?
You made a Spaceballs reference, dude.
No, you probably comb it with an Afro pick.
Right.
Wait, don't you remember that scene in Spaceballs, dude, when they told them to comb the desert, and the dude was out there with a pick, with a huge pick. Oh man, all right. I thought that was a Spaceballs reference. No, but yeah, they'll be, that's basically what they'll be doing, is because with land race variants, the compounds that they produce are far more pronounced than like production plants, because production plants aren't stressed, right? So with land race plants, they're out in their natural element. So whatever it is that they have to ward off, or whatever compounds it needs to create in order for it to make sure that it's resistant to the elements. Okay, though those plants are going to have more things in them than production plants. So there's always going to be this thing to go and find a plant that has some high level of some secondary or tertiary CBD or THC compound, right? So because you have like CBD, you have THC, CBD, and then you have THCA, CBDA, THC. I don't think you have a THCB, but you have THCC, CBDB. There's all these subcategories, right? But what if you found one that just had like a huge amount of like one subcategory, right? That's kind of like a good find. And what often happens too is that you start doing crossing of the genetics, right? So you say, okay, well, this one has a high high concentration of this compound. I want to blend that with this one over here. So you'll pollinate, this one, or you may cross pollinate back and then get the seed stocks, grow those out, and then lab test it and then see what you get. So there's a lot of
Right.
interest, especially now when they're talking about even patenting, right? You know, we've even covered some stuff about people patenting compounds and shit, or something to that effect. You know, so there's a kind of like a low key like pharmaceutical arms race with this shit.
Right. Okay. Another question by Black Cyber Network. I wonder if hydroponic weed farm would be more equitable. Maybe he means profitable. I'm not sure. What do you think about hydroponic growing?
Hydroponic, like, wait, growing like herb? Hydroponic?
Yeah, farm.
Um,
Will that take more effort? Yeah, you gotta have
yeah,
a
you know, see,
bunch
well,
of,
yeah, a lot of
yeah.
dudes, what they've done is, man, they just, well, they'll either do hydro, but what they'll do is they'll just kind of do like a cocoa coir setup. So it's kind of like growing in dirt, and then what you do is you just water it nutrients, right? But it kind of grows in a medium. So it's kind of like the closest thing you can get to like growing in like a regular environment, but doing it hydro. So if you're doing it that way, yeah. But if you're doing like all like the tanks and the water and all that, nah, people ditched that stuff years ago. It was just the cost to run it. Um, let's just say power goes out, pumps go down, plants don't get fed, they're all dead. Right. So
Okay. Right.
people ditched all that stuff like years ago, man. They stopped doing that shit a long time ago. And then plus, like, if the block got hot, man, you need to be able to pack a shit up quick. Like, that's how it was back in the day anyway.
But
I'm
maybe
not saying that was me.
not as much of a worry now.
Yeah, no. Oh, no. Because there's an article we're gonna cover about what's been going on in Cali. Man, I was just telling you on the phone, dude, a little while ago.
Oh no, I'm not talking about Cali, but I mean like if you're in a place where you're legally allowed to grow and you have like a container or
Oh,
something, you probably
yeah.
don't have to
Well,
worry about like running.
no. I was just making reference to like why dudes stopped doing it, like in the
Oh, okay,
streets,
okay, sure.
back in the day. Yeah, because like if the block got hot, dude, like that's a whole lot to get rid of and tear down and stuff. But
Hey, I sent you guys one article in
okay,
the Brain Trust email. Reply back to that Hangout link.
Oh, okay.
okay,
I
gotcha.
see it
All
now.
right.
All right, let me get out of here.
Okay, all right, Mike.
All right, catch you later.
Let's see here.
Okay, one more question. Engineering Cannabis says, I need to ask a question. If a database exists on each strain in the process of growing it as a variable to grow, so is there any database on
The only kind of
a lot of strains, or
there's
needs to be something worked on?
well, when you say like a database, right? So it's like what? Okay, the strain, like what its
Of each
parentage is.
strain and how and processing of the process of growing it.
Um, there could be some stuff like that. Like, see, there's some resources online where you can go look up the strain, and then it'll tell you what the parentage is, right? So what two other plants basically created that strain, and then it'll tell you like who created the strain, and then what it is. If it's like 60% indica, 40% sativa, then it'll tell you like the flowering time, how long it takes, how much you get out of it. And, it'll
Okay,
tell
but
you. Yeah,
no like centralized database on it. Yeah.
I don't, not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
There could be something out there, but I mean, I just remember like, but this was, man, like shit, 10 years ago, maybe even further back than that, 2007, 2008, when I was really starting to like get into like, identifying strains and stuff. There were like these resources that were online, but so much has come out since that time, right? I would imagine that there's probably something more elaborate out there.
Okay. All right, let's probably hit the next article.
Okay.
Unless you want me to do it.
Yeah, I think I feel a couple sneezes coming on. I'm gonna mute up for a second.
Okay. Let me
I think
know
it's
if you can see it.
I think it's
It's the Illinois one
yeah,
now.
yeah. Okay.
All right, how does it look? Can you see it? Can you guys in the chat see it? Yeah, everyone good? Okay. This is the Chicago Tribune. Here's when marijuana will be legal in Illinois.
Wait a minute. No,
yeah.
no, it's wait. Okay, there it goes. All right.
Oh, you can see it. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's when marijuana will be legal in Illinois and answers to other burning questions about recreational. So this is by Robert McCoppin. Marking a historic moment in an expanding national movement, Illinois lawmakers Friday approved recreational marijuana legalization after a contentious debate in Springfield, during which one lawmaker even cracked eggs into a frying pan to depict the brain on drugs. And the House of Representatives voted 66 to 47 to allow possession and sale beginning January 1st, 2020. The Senate has approved the measure earlier this week, and Governor Pritzker plans to sign the bill into law, which would make Illinois the 11th state to legalize and the first state in which a legislator approved commercial sales. Vermont lawmakers legalized possession, but not yet commercial sales. Approval of other states came via referendum. Opponents warned of more addiction, mental impairment, and drugged driving deaths, while proponents spoke of a need to end a failed war on drugs, which has disproportionately hurt minorities. Legalizing is expected to generate revenue in the coming budget year to help restore poverty and crime-ridden communities and fund substance abuse, mental health, and law enforcement services support our state. This will be a transformational impact on our state, creating opportunity in the communities that need it most and giving so many a second chance. As detailed in the 610-page bill, cannabis is meant to be taxed and regulated similarly to alcohol, with a lot of rules affecting its use. The legislators' actions raised a number of questions throughout the state about the soon-to-be new law. Here are the answers to some of them. Who can grow and sell? Only the 20 existing licensed medical cultivation facilities will be licensed to grow it initially, and then next year, craft growers may apply for licenses to cultivate.
Grow. Oh my, that sounds so Chicago. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, cultivate up to 5,000 square feet, which doesn't seem like a lot. With preferences given to applicants from minority areas disproportionately affected by the war on drugs, such as the south and west side of Chicago.
Okay, wait a minute. Can you read that part again? Maybe just for effect, so people can hear that again, especially people listening in from the Chicagoland area.
Okay, with preferences given to applicants from minority areas disproportionately affected by the war on drugs, such as south and west sides of Chicago.
Doesn't that sound a little bit like social equity?
Yep, it's part of their equity program.
Yeah, isn't that something we've been kind of banging the drum about for since we started doing this thing?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead, dude.
Medical dispensaries and new retail stores will be licensed to sell, and patients will be allowed to grow up to 5 plants each at home, that's interesting. So then it's who can buy. Illinois residents aged 21 and over may possess up to 30 grams or about 1 ounce of flower, roughly as much as a adult can hold in one cupped hand, 5 grams of cannabis concentrate, or 500 milligrams of THC. In cannabis-infused products such as gummies and other candy, tinctures, and lotions. Adult visitors to the state may possess up to 15 grams.
Wait. How much can be in the like the tinctures and how much?
500 milligrams.
500 mil. Okay.
So that seems like a pretty good amount.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That's okay. Yeah, 500 milligrams. All right.
Okay, so who can ban it? Municipalities and counties may ban cannabis businesses within their boundaries, but may not ban individual possession. Any person, business, or landlord may prohibit use on private property. College and universities may continue to prohibit the use, which is, I guess, reasonable. Where is it prohibited? In any public place, like on the street or in a park, on school grounds, except for medical users, in any motor vehicle, in a correctional facility. That seems obvious.
Wait, dude. So wait, you mean to tell me you could spark up at school?
No, you can't unless you have.
Yeah, unless you have a little medical card.
But at that point, I don't think it would be like
I'm just
smoking. It would be like
like a vape. No, I'm
no,
joking.
no, more like a drink. More like not
No,
a
like
tincture,
no,
but
it'd be
something
like
you
it.
ingest.
No,
Yeah,
it'd be like pills or something. Yeah.
yeah, something like that. Near someone under 21 while driving a boat, or flying a plane, or by a school bus driver, police, fire, correction. So pretty obvious stuff. The
Wait a minute,
governor
but
will,
that's his while on duty. So
yeah, while on duty. So
yeah,
if
so they
you're off
can
duty,
you're
then
off duty, man. Spark up.
well, even then, I think you have to be careful because they still have testing, policies within your company, right?
Oh, yeah, that's
So,
true.
so it just kind of depends. And then how does it affect records? The governor will pardon past convictions for possession up to 30 grams, with the attorney general going to court to expunge or delete public records of convictions or arrests. That's very good. For possessions of 30 to 500, individual or state attorney may petition the court to vacate and expunge the conviction, but prosecutors may object with the judge to make the decision. Ooh, and the important part, taxes.
Oh
Sales
boy.
will be taxed at 10% for THC levels at or less than 35%, 20% for cannabis infused products such as edibles, 25% for THC concentration more than 35%. That's in addition to standard state or
Oh
local
god.
sales tax. Municipalities may add special
Oh
taxes up
no, dude.
to
Three taxes.
3%. Counties may add to
Oh
3.75% in unincorporated areas, and Cook County may add
add
up to
up
3%.
to wait a minute.
That's
So wait,
excessive.
they can
Yeah.
stack. Oh my god, they're gonna. Dude, me and my boy, we just talking about this. Like, man, you saw how they just stack tax
Yeah,
on
that's
top of tax. Damn.
that's also one of the issues is at some point it'll be more expensive to buy legally than on the black market, which has happened in California.
Yeah, we're
So,
gonna talk about that one in a few. Damn.
but it's in the right direction.
It's
And
gonna
then
it's gonna make money. It's gonna. I was waiting for that one. I wanted to see how it was gonna be taxed.
so then I guess now it depends how that tax money is going to be used. I haven't seen anything yet on exactly what they're going to do with it, but that'll also be interesting.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah. Is there any
Let's
questions in the
see
chat?
here. Let me scroll up here.
In
Let
the
me
chat.
take a look. Let's see. Oh wait, I'm trying to see where we left off. Let's see. I think it's real fun. It says engineering cannabis. The biggest proposal is funding of low-income business for minorities in Illinois, and it is 600-page legislation. Currently reading it. Yeah.
Well, actually, that's super interesting. If they're not kind of like the SBA, but
Mm-hmm.
funded through this, where you can hand in your business proposal and get funded, that'd actually be excellent.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we'll see how that goes. We'll keep an
Yeah.
eye on that.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm just I don't know, man. I try to be hopeful, right?
Mhm.
And that legislators will do the right thing with this stuff. And it's kind of like they pass it, and you're always going to be like a step or two behind. That's kind of just how it's going to have to be, right? But you
Where you
also have
talk about the Chicago, what do they call it? The machine, the
yeah,
political
yeah, yeah,
machine.
yeah. I mean, well, shit, dude,
Yeah,
it happened here in California too, man. You know,
right.
so I don't think anyone is immune to it. But you also have to kind of look at the prospect of, like, buying power and consumer spending, right? Like where you
Mhm.
put your money. So that would mean that, like, there's a lot of there's a lot of people in Illinois on the south and west sides, man, that smoke. Right? I know this for a fact. Um,
Right.
so that's a lot of money that can potentially go to some of the people who do end up getting some sort of licensure, some sort of permitting, some sort of something. Okay. So
Right.
you have to speak with your dollar.
Mhm.
You really do. You have to speak with your dollar, you know. And
But honestly, if they don't use the tax revenue from this to fund, all the public schools, some road
dude,
construction,
they've got
there
pension
are a
issues,
lot of,
bro.
yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of issues that it can use to be addressed.
Right. I mean, that's why, I laughed at the taxes on it like made me crack up because I thought California was bad, but
Right. That looked like it could go up to 50%
that's
tax.
what I mean.
That's
That's why
crazy.
when you start adding all that up, I was like, God damn. Because California, like, I mean, dude, that I think it's when you add it all up, like 31 or 33, dude, it's like 30% or something like that. So I wouldn't.
Right.
So for Illinois, it wouldn't surprise me if it hovered around like 45, 50%. I mean, look at they do the shit like the pension issues, the school closures, you know.
Right. Yeah, all of that's what it should be addressed with.
Right.
Like the Illinois isn't a lot. It's a it's
I
a
mean,
rough
but
shape
dude, like,
state. So
here's
yeah.
what killed me about Illinois though. It was like, why the fuck you guys should have like legalized like 3-4 years ago.
Right.
And,
Well, the good thing is this puts pressure on a lot of the other Midwest states around it to start
right.
to
Yep.
legalize this as well. So
Yep.
it's
That's
silver lining
true.
on it.
Yep. All right, we can move on to the next one.
Okay. Okay, let me know if you can see it. Oh, this is. Okay, let me. Wait, can everyone in this chat see it? Right? Okay. After Illinois, these states. Okay, actually, give me a second. So that everyone can see it. After Illinois, these states could legalize recreational next. Last year was truly memorable for the cannabis movement. After decades of operating in the shadows, Canada became the first industrialized country in the world to legalize recreational, only second overall behind Uruguay. We also witnessed history made in these aspects of the marijuana movement more than a dozen times. The U.S. and Drug Administration legalized its first ever cannabis-derived drug. Support for legalization hit an all-time high, in more states than ever have waved the green flag on weed for medical and adult use perspectives, with 33 medical marijuana legal states, 10 of which allow adult consumption. So this
Wave the
article is
green
a little
flag.
bit behind it because Illinois has already legalized. And they give some figures on it. So we'll go over a little bit. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, a Democrat, expects that the tax will generate $170 million in 2020. So that's just the first year, which will partially help the state meet its numerous underfunded obligations. Definitely, that should be the
To say the least.
first step. Yeah. In terms of multi-state dispensaries, this is a potentially solid win for MedMen Enterprises. I believe, are they out of California?
Yeah. Oh, wait.
I've heard of them.
Repeat that. Wait. Repeat that. Who?
In terms of multi-state dispensaries, this is a potentially solid win for MedMen Enterprises, which is in the process of acquiring privately held PharmaCann for $682 million in an all-stock deal.
Holy shit.
And would inherit the 6 medical marijuana licenses that PharmaCann was awarded in Illinois. So that they own 6 of the 25 in the state.
Dude. These
until
are the
2020.
same. These are part of the same group of people, man, who came here and pushed that Prop 64 shit, man. Completely obliterated what we had.
Oh, it was the amendment, guys?
Yeah. That's why
Okay,
I'm cracking up right now, dude. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? This is like some major shit.
Man, if they had 682 million to go around acquiring this
how the fuck do you think they were able to do what they did in California? You had that some
deep
serious
pockets.
dough behind you.
Right. Yeah, it is. It does the place the upscale vertical integration operator on a solid ground in the land of Lincoln. So they went vertical integration. So this is going
God,
from
dude, that's the
farm
same
to
shit.
dispensary.
Dude, that is the same shit that acreage.
Right.
That's the
There's acreage, and then
wow,
there's
dude.
Canna Leaf, I believe, out of Massachusetts.
Yeah. Wow.
New Jersey and New York, maybe in 2020. The two most logical choices would be New Jersey and New York, both of which have advanced legislation to legalize adult use. Unfortunately, both states may have to wait until 2020 before they get their chance of redemption. In March, New Jersey looked like a near sure thing, with Governor Phil Murphy and state lawmakers seemingly coming to an agreement on excise tax rates after protracted debate. However, talks abruptly fell apart after Republican lawmakers in the state failed to support the legislation, and in party squabbling among Democrats over social aspects of the bill removed the majority support needed for it to pass. It's a similar story in New York, where social issues held up inclusion of recreational cannabis legislation in the state's budget, which was due to the beginning of April. But both cities are good candidates to advance in 2020, which is actually pretty key.
Mm-hmm.
It's more than just passing the legislation. It also has to be, in our favor as well, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because it could end up with the big players just gobbling everything up.
You
Which,
mean kind of like what's happening right now?
right, which is not what you want. Definitely
Yeah.
not. Next one is Ohio. In 2019, the best chance may come from Ohio. The Buckeye State aims to put the Ohio marijuana legalization initiative on November 2019's ballot, pending review by state officials. As with other legalization, this would allow adults over 21 and over to purchase with excise tax to be attached to each sale. The reason I'd suggest Ohio has the best path is because the American public has demonstrated broader support than lawmakers, either state or federal. If a ballot initiative does make its way to the public, there's a better than 50-50 shot at approval, which is true. A lot
Mm-hmm.
more people support it than the lawmakers who
I mean, they
they have
supported it,
political reasons to take
but
maybe
but
right,
see, Boehner and his boys they're from Ohio. Like
right,
he's
yeah,
pushing the narrative there, dude. Ohio's gonna
yeah,
flip. Yeah, it's gonna flip.
right. But it's also cautious that nothing is guaranteed, even if two-thirds of Americans favor legalization. 2015, Ohio voted on Issue 3, which is the first and only all-in-one legalization measure in the country that would have approved medical and recreational at the same time. Despite growing support, state residents voted 2-1 against the measure. But 2015 is, 4 years ago.
Yeah,
A
that's
lot
what I
has
was mean.
changed since then.
Yeah, they were because they were ready for it to flip in 2015, and they voted it down.
Right. Ohio would be another feather in the cap for MedMen, which will gain exposure to Buckeye State as well as
Wow.
Pharma Camp Purchase has closed.
You know what? You
And
know what
these
we gotta
guys are,
do? You know
yeah,
what we gotta do? We gotta do like a company profile on them on the next hangout.
okay, right.
I'm gonna dig them up, man. We're gonna find that dude. They got bucks. These dudes
Yeah,
got
they got deep
bucks, man. They
pockets.
got bucks, dude.
There was also an article. Let's see if we can get to it. It's a Massachusetts-based company. I
Yeah, no,
believe it's called Canna and they have some deep pocketed Russian billionaire backing.
oh shit,
So everyone is getting in on this.
damn.
Arizona and Florida. Okay. No other state is winding. If no other state wind up legalizing in 2019, then all eyes 2020 will likely turn to Arizona and Florida, and not for vacation purposes. Arizona unsuccessfully voted for legalized adult back in 2016, with the measure narrowly failing by just 2% percentage points. However, favorability towards has improved nationwide over the past couple of years, and the second time has been the charm in a number of states, including California, Oregon, where initial legalization efforts failed. The Arizona marijuana legalization initiative, which will require close to 238 signatures of residents to get on the 2020 ballot, looks like it has a reasonable good chance in November 2020. And then Florida industry has been such an overwhelming success that it seems only logical to see a recreational pot measure that makes it easy to makes its way to the ballot in 2020. this is a bit more of a long shot than Arizona, but cannabis support groups have noted their intent to focus on 2020, one of the largest protected revenue producing states, which would make sense. Florida is, basically sunny year round.
Yeah, and they need
Does any of their muggy kind of weather help, or is that
what,
what
like
do you
as
think?
far as like growing?
Yeah, because they're more
Oh yeah,
swampy,
yeah, yeah.
right?
No, you could get some real good sativas. Man, Durban would grow great down there. Yeah, a lot of the good like Mexican strains you can find sativa. Stuff that's kind of down more towards the Gulf. Yeah, you can get strains from there. Those would grow good over in Florida. Yeah, any sativas would grow good over there. Yeah, and then hybrids too. But in that type of weather, that muggy weather, yeah,
Right.
sativas will love it.
Okay, sweet. I think the second and last one, this one, and then the one that makes sense.
Okay.
Let's go to that.
Let me check the chat here and see if we've got anything over here. Wesley, he dropped in and said he's chiefing as we speak. That's what's up, man. Bless up.
All right.
Let's see here. Engineering cannabis legalization provides minority owners 50% off licenses of cannabis business in Illinois. Okay. Let's see here. Mike Rizzi, Illinois is doing better than other places. I hope minority owners remain independent and expandable. I mean, I'm interested to see kind of how this works out, because they're saying that the only people who could really grow, right, from a commercial standpoint, are people who already have licenses right now. So,
Right. The people who already have the medical licenses.
Yeah, they have the people, so that's kind of but then you have that whole spectrum of, MedMen, right? So, like, I'm not sure if you're familiar. Like I said, we're going to do a company profile on them, because, like, think of like big tobacco, okay, but instead of big tobacco, big weed, okay,
Right.
and MedMen's like big weed. Let's see, Reigning Woman, hey, how you doing? Black Cyber Network, anyone can own shares in Cron IG or two. Are those okay? Those are some. I gotta look those. I gotta look those up. Can anyone own shares in there?
They must be cannabis.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you
We should ask Maddie about that. You
yeah,
probably know that a little bit.
actually, yeah. If Matty Ghost is around, because he's well, I mean, if it's of the penny stock variety, yeah. I mean, I own some hemp stock. Maddie, that's the same thing with Maddie too. But those particular companies, yeah, I think he would know more, because he's kind of like spread out with his. CR Frank got some Afria. Yeah. Okay.
All right, let's get to the next article. Law enforcement targets dozens of illicit Southern California cannabis growers. In another example of enforcement action against illicit marijuana businesses in California, nearly 141,000 plants were seized in southern part of the state in a massive raid targeting dozens of illegal cultivation sites. This will come as a welcome news to licensed marijuana firms in California that have long complained that illegal operators severely undercut legal sales in the state.
Dude, what was I telling you?
Man.
What was I telling you?
Wait, so I'm assuming that they're talking about feds here, or they're talking about the state.
No, this is the state.
This is state action. Okay. The Riverside County Sheriff's Department said roughly 700 law enforcement officers served warrants at more than 118 marijuana grows in the Anza Valley, an inland region between Los Angeles and San Diego. In addition to plants, authorities seized more than 3,000 pounds of processed marijuana, 17 rifles, and 10 handguns. 8 people were arrested. But for 141,000 plants, 8 people being arrested, that doesn't seem all that much. Unless they had a massive operation.
Nah, it's that there's a what it is the legal guys, right, are now trying to go after the quote unquote illegal guys, because remember, as I was telling you, so you came in, you put Prop 64, you slapped 30% tax on it, and then you expected people who used to, who are used to paying $35 for, a pound of some really good kush, right? Now I got to pay 47. Oh, okay, right. And then you're gonna go right on back to the street and get it for like 30. Okay, so
Right.
you got all this money. You push the legislation through. You set up your swanky dispensaries. You got all your, and I mean the bud. I've bought some of this stuff before, just trying it out, and it's like, this is some bullshit. And it's $47 for an eighth. Like, what?
So the
Like,
quality went down.
quality is gone down. Yeah, so everybody's like, yo, you get in the streets, man, because the dudes who know how to grow. And so this is the reason why now you've got the legit operators like basically going to the authorities saying like, dude, go bust these dudes. They're cutting into our money. But it was like, okay, well, you came and cut into theirs first. Right? Because these were all the dudes who were growing legally when we were under the Compassionate Care Act.
Right.
So that's the thing. It was kind of like, well, dude, who cut into whose money first? So
yeah, well, it's whoever's licensed now, so they have the primary authority on it. Yeah.
But here's what I wanted to share. Hold on one second, because I was telling you about this. I don't know if this is a video. I hope it's not a video. Yeah, here we go. Well, you know what? Here's what I'll do. I'm just gonna put it in the chat. But here, let me put the link here. So that's a CNBC article. And here, this is the title of it. So I won't have to pull it up and do all that. This is just kind of like supplemental reading to what we're talking about here. That's the title of the article right there. Cannabis retailer MedMen's financial troubles are a warning for the marijuana industry. Remember I was telling you, dude, like they get employees that were like suing them for back pay and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But shit, you think they care? They're gobbling up licenses, man. Remember we were talking about hyper scaling?
Right.
Like you basically just spread yourself super thin, right? And like you cover all these bases, and then you kind of just try to suffocate people out, and then you clean it all up later. But it's okay because you already got all your shit cornered, right? So that's what they're doing. It's like it's that hyper scaling model. It's the same way with a lot of these, like, Ubers and the Lyfts and Birds and all these new type of companies, how they operate and how they gain market share, such a widespread market share in a short amount of time. And which you'll typically find with these types of companies, that there's a lot of like structural and internal like growing pains, and there's a lot of things that just kind of happen on the fly, and they work like just, you know what I mean? But it's all to get the market cornered first and then deal with all the other shit later, But
right.
Yeah, you'll notice, man. Watch MedMen. That name is gonna just keep coming up, dude. Like I said, think big tobacco, but big weed.
Right. Them and Canopy. Yeah. Okay. Let's do this article by Mike. Massachusetts inches cautiously toward cannabis cafes. Okay, that's interesting. Boston. If you're at least 21 in Massachusetts, you can legally buy recreational marijuana at more than a dozen stores that have opened over the past several months. But when it comes to using those products, the law says you can only do so discreetly and privately. That could change. The State Cannabis Control Commission voted 3-1 to recently accept the recommendation of the working group that explored the possibility of licensing social consumption sites, so kind of like bars.
Yeah.
A move that potentially would open a new frontier for the cannabis business and consumers in the Bay States. The plan calls for test rollout of such venues in up to a dozen Massachusetts communities, but don't look for Amsterdam-style cannabis cafes to spring up in the near future. It took more than 2 years after voters approved a recreational marijuana question for the first retail stores to open, and a full or even partial rollout of social consumption venues would easily take just as long if it happens at all. So what's the plan? The recommendation narrowly approved by the commission allows for a test of social consumption sites in 12 volunteer communities, including 5 that participate in the working group. Okay, so I mentioned a few cities. Up to 7 others that want to participate will be chosen, and the state regulators will be authorized to review applications and grant licenses in those communities for establishment such as cannabis cafes, where people could buy and consume on the premises. The plan also envisions even host licenses for certain one-time gatherings.
Hmm.
And so they talk
Like
about
single use license.
yeah, like hosting different events. Like, so I'm
Right.
guessing maybe like if there's any
Oh, so
like
you
Rolling Loud comes through or something like that, they could set it up. Okay, so municipalities would have discretion over the type of licenses, how many they grant. And then a little bit about the concerns. The working group identified and attempted to address several concerns with social consumption sites, including the potential for underage pot use, impaired driving, smoking-related health concerns. Licensees would be required to have a plan in place for assurance that no one under 21 enters on-site consumption areas. Employees of the establishment would be required to complete responsible server training that includes guidance on cannabis potency and THC absorption times to prevent over serving of patrons. So basically, they're kind of doing, I guess, licensing that you would need for a bar.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah. No. I mean,
You
that's
just have like a bouncer at the front door. What's your license? That kind of thing.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And then, okay, so you skip down. Nearly every U.S. state with legal recreational marijuana has grappled with the question of social use with different outcomes. The working groups that examine rules in other states, including Alaska's recently approved law that allows pot to be used in designated areas within some states that sell it. San Francisco and some other California communities have moved to allow pot lounges, and the Las Vegas City Council approved a plan earlier this month to authorize venues in the city, though not in casinos. And last year, then Colorado Governor John Hickenlooper vetoed a bill to allow marijuana retailers to create so-called tasting rooms.
Tasting rooms.
So that's definitely interesting.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Under the Compassionate Care Act, you were able to actually like smoke in a dispensary. You can medicate in a dispensary.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I imagine people want to at least try out some of the stuff, or maybe just do it there.
Well,
You know what I mean?
under the under the Compassionate Care Act. So let's just say you were a vet, right? And you walked in and you were like, "Hey, man, look, I don't have any money, but I'm in pain, man." Okay, according to how the Compassionate Care Act was written, you got to like pack a bowl for that dude or give him a joint or something. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, like if you were like a vet or something like that, or just pretty much technically anybody, if you walked in, you're like, "Hey, I'm in pain." You're technically you're supposed to like donate like a joint to them or something. So they always had like this box of joints they just give people.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
Okay, and okay, let's finish up with our last article. This is on CoinDesk. SEC find crypto project abandons cannabis co-working venture. A cryptocurrency project previously sanctioned by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, is selling a property that it has intended to use as a cannabis co-working space. The firm Paragon Coin, we talked about this in the past,
Yep.
revealed news in a filing of the SEC last month, stating that while it had anticipated that its native PRG token could be used by marijuana industry startups to pay rent for the shared office space, the property is now under contract for sale. So I'm guessing that means they haven't paid up.
And it was it was like this swanky building in Hollywood, dude.
Oh, you checked it out, right?
Yeah, I went and checked it out.
Okay. Paragon has put a price tag of 4.2 million on the space. Jeez. Which was purchased for 3.75 million via a 2.45 million loan and cash holding. The total amount paid for the property is 4.02 million as of May 2018, including interest. The firm said in the filing, "We currently do not intend to renovate, improve, or develop other properties. We currently do not intend to make further investments in real estate or acquire any interest in real estate, and do not intend to make investments in real estate mortgages."
They said a lot of things about their intentions to not do anything in real estate.
Right, yeah. They repeated multiple times. Paragon Coin explains it will now focus on continued development of its blockchain track and trace software, uh, product for use in the cannabis business and potentially other industries. Transactions on the system are paid for with PRGs. Last November, the SEC agreed to register the token as securities after the firm settled charges related to its 2017 ICO.
Remember, we followed that ICO.
Right, right.
And we were looking at like how the run up on that. I forgot how much it went to. You know, people like The Game, that rapper. He was involved with Paragon.
Right. I think them calling it an ICO is really what kind of put them on the well,
Yep.
not just them, but the whole crypto industry put them on the
Radar.
the
Yeah.
crosshair of the SEC.
Yep.
It was way too close to an IPO. The firm raised $12 million in the sale in order to develop and implement its business plan to add blockchain technology to the cannabis industry and work toward legalization. However, the regulators contended that the startup should have registered its tokens as security offerings, so like an IPO, and that it did not qualify for a registration exemption. As a result, Paragon was forced to refund investors as well as file periodic reports to the SEC and pay a penalty of $250,000.
Ouch.
The token is currently trading at around 11 cents, which actually is not bad.
It's
Remember, about a year ago, it was like, what, 4 cents? Maybe a
Yeah,
little bit less than
yeah,
that.
it was, but that run up, dude, it was, I forgot, like it was maybe like buck 10 or something like that.
Right.
For a brief second, dude, it got up to maybe maybe it was even like $2, and then there was like, yeah, cash out.
Yeah, a
Damn,
lot
the
of it.
the investors have to get paid back.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Damn.
Well, I think maybe we have to look into that a little bit more. I don't know if that means that they have to return that 12 million per se. Maybe it was the investors who just straight up invested instead of the.
You know what?
Well, actually, I don't know. Maybe the people who just regularly invested in the company, they didn't have to be paid back, but the people who did the ICO. But I haven't gotten paid back, so I don't know. We have to look into that a little bit.
Well, look, I think something happened there where a lot of the investor money was tied up in actually like the real estate stuff.
Oh, okay.
Right, because if you go back and you read what it said, they were like, we don't intend to do any real estate thing. We're not going to have any real estate mortgages. We're not going to do any. I was like, so wait, was this like a kind of like a real estate scheme? Like, or did you tie up some of the investment money in a real estate scheme? I mean, who knows? But
yeah, but maybe it was just that. Well, they spend way too much on that property in the first place. I think that was their first mistake.
I was like, dude, you need to go and put that shit like some hole in the wall spot.
Right.
For like, $1,200
like WeWork or something.
Rent or something. Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Like, do it on the cheap, bro. Yeah, low overhead.
Maybe they just wanted. I guess they just wanted a place with their name on it.
Well, like I said, it was swank, dude. Like, I guess what it was supposed to do is, okay, the LA methodology is, go loud and convince people you're the crap, right? And then they'll believe you, and then because they believe you, you'll then become the crap. You weren't actually the crap prior to that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Fake it till you make it, right?
Yeah, that's that whole thing, right? So it's the same thing with Paragon, I think.
Man, they should have just focused on, I don't know. Craft, weed or something. I don't know.
Yeah, no, seriously, they should have focused on things that would have given them more ROI, especially considering like how we just talked about, like kind of like the state of the cannabis industry and how it's all kind of operating now in California, man, where they basically destroyed what was there. So, I mean, what they're trying to develop as far as like a blockchain application, tokenization things. I mean, if you really focused on that type of shit, you're right. You're in the right area, to get the right type of capital and the right type of partners involved to like come up with maybe like a legit, like what's the other crypto, the delivery crypto, Green Med,
I think, yeah.
Green Med, yeah. Okay, so there's an actual working business model behind it, right? And you can legit buy your weed with Ethereum. You know, Paragon, yeah, their money was tied up in this this workspace, and I drove by there one day. I was like, damn, you know, who's gonna come in here and then spend money working with you guys, or you know, spend money to rent workspace out of this? It sounded more like a real estate scheme more than anything.
Right. Well, actually, we should talk about this next week. There's actually a lot of banking uh, moves that are happening, so that I think that's going to undercut a lot of the crypto. Well, we'll see. But it looks like people might be able to, invest their stuff. Put their proceeds in an actual bank,
Right.
fairly soon.
Yeah. See here. Let's hit the chat box here and see what's going on here before we close out.
All right.
Yeah, I think CR Frank is holding some stock too. We might have to get you on, Frank, brother, and talk about it a little bit, man. Let's see here. Hey, Randy Woman said, would we be willing to front her a joint?
Sure.
You know what? Yeah, you know what? Yeah, you know what? We might be actually do something about that. We'll be able to help you out. Let's see. Country is currently Wild Wild West due to no federal laws and only state laws that differ from state to state. Yeah, but there's some signs that there might be something with regards to the Fed, that may be changing its position on it. I think on the last hangout we saw Attorney General Barr and his view on it. And he basically has a view which basically states that whatever the Fed policy it is, the Fed policy needs to be in line with whatever the majority of the states are doing. So and right. Actually just kind of maybe serve as like another layer of like protectionist.
Well, I think he was kind of basically saying we'll leave this up to the states. Like he's not making any moves on the federal level,
right?
Unlike Jeff Sessions,
right.
That's a disaster. Yeah,
right. So the opinion of even the Attorney General is that like the Fed should just basically remain indifferent, which is what the Cole memo basically instituted. Was basically it was kind of like a legal indifference doctrine. Like it was kind of like what that the states have their own constitution. So if they vote to do something, let them do it. That sort of thing. Right. Let's see here. Let's see. Any of you invest in pot coin and hemp coin? No. Bro. Like what we did, we just been analyzing. Now
I bought Paragon coin.
Yeah, actually I did. I have a Paragon wallet too. Right. We were kind of toying around with it. But hemp coin, pot coin, not so much, because so this was like last year, maybe around this time last year, a little bit before. So we were looking at use case, and we were looking at how to like the prospect of like commodifying a coin, actually like, having it, as Young Grizzly would say, commodity based crypto. Right. So we were looking at models of how to actually give cryptocurrencies like an actual value based on commodity. So similar to how you see like you have cryptos out here that are backed by gold or based on gold. So a lot of the cryptos, when we were looking into them like about a year ago, we were really just sussing. We were really like picking through their business models, really trying to see what they do and how they would, what would be the purpose or use of it, and why it would be of any value. And so I wasn't really moved to purchase cryptos. I was buying penny stocks. That's what I was doing. I was buying hemp penny stocks. But
so are there any more questions you see?
No more questions. So yeah, that will kind of close us out here for Black Cannabis Talk, episode 222 on the Black Brain Trust. Any parting words, Noah?
Nothing much. Just tune in for tomorrow, Space and Technology.
Yeah, space and technology tomorrow. Was that like 8 o'clock Eastern? That's usually when it's. Yeah, usually
Right. Yeah.
might start
Around that
back
time.
around. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, CR. That's what's up, man. Shout out to Matt Ghost. Okay, y'all. Y'all have a good night.
All right. Peace, everyone.